point to serve you up all the very best highlights. Welcome to Cardinal Country as we race to the finish. Joe and I get ready for showtime. Talk to the hand. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. How do they always get us on camera? Isn't that crazy?
Well, we love being on camera. Let's face it.
We do.
We ham it up. That's known. But not nearly as busy a show this week as we had last week. Of course, did last week's show on Tuesday, and finally back to our proper night on Monday night to get the week started the right way here on CTN. But still a lot to talk about. Obviously, we're getting very deep into the season, just at the midway point for football. We will, because we have a little bit lighter show, we'll have a little bit more time to talk about some things as we move through the program. But let's get started talking about that football team. It's homecoming week for the Cardinals football team, hoping to bounce back from their first loss of the season. They knew going into Friday's game that the Knights would probably give them their toughest challenge of the season so far. Irondale had won 2 in a row after losing the season opener, and they were fired up to put on a good show in front of their own homecoming crowd. Knights start the scoring on their opening drive on a huge play by their senior running back. Parker Freiberg takes the pitch running right, finds a seam, cuts back, and then turns on the Jets. A 54-yard run puts Irondale in control right away. The Cardinals have the answer on their next possession. They drive deep into Knights territory. Quarterback Jake Van Holzen on the keeper. He goes 14 yards untouched for the score, and the game's tied at 7. Irondale took the lead with a field goal early in the second quarter. Then on their next possession, Layden Glodick airs it out. He's got Iggy, age of 4, behind the defender, makes a great catch down at the 1-yard line. That set up the Knights' second TD. Glodick sneaking it in easily from the 1. Irondale scored on all of their possessions in the first half and led 17-7 at the break. Early in the third, Glodick finds age of 4 again. This time a short toss turns into a big gain as age of 4 finds himself with wide open field in front of him. Good for 49 yards. He had 2 catches for 83 yards in the game. That set up another field goal. Noah Kiani went 3 for 3 in the game, kicking field goals from 25, 28, and 29 yards. Fourth quarter, Cardinals trying to cut into the lead. Van Holzen can't find an open receiver, but does find some open field to run. Picks up 18 yards down to the Irondale 2-yard line. Next play, the give goes to Forrest Wolf, and he's in easily off the left side. A 2-yard score cuts the deficit to 6. The Cardinals just run out of time after another field goal made it a 2-score game. Van Holzen finds Miles Taylor in the flat. He gets to the end zone for the score, but just 7 seconds on the clock at that point. Cardinals comeback falls short. They lose 23-21.
You know, we talked about it during the game that this could have been more of a lopsided score. You know, the fact that the Cardinals defense held them to kicking 3 field goals. And it's always a great weapon when you have a field goal kicker like that can go 3 for 3. You know, there were some holes in the defense. I thought there were receivers for Irondale that got open. The coverage was a little tough at times, and I think those are all things they can correct. I know they were playing a zone. Coach Edwards had talked about that, but they've got a tough test coming up this week, so they'll have to make some adjustments this week during practice and get back and play at home and maybe get a little more home cooking going. Yeah,
they definitely they played better in the second half defensively, no question about that. The zone was not only a zone but kind of a soft zone, and they had a couple of big, tall receivers, which made the matchups pretty difficult. They've got, of course, one very tall cornerback in Marshall Howland, but Shai Williams on the other side was going to be asked to guard a guy who was significantly taller than him, and Glodick did a nice job of watching wherever number 5 was defending and knowing that he had a mismatch if that ended up in a one-on-one situation. On the offensive side of the ball, though, they really struggled. Outside of their first drive, when they went all the way down and put it in the end zone, they really sputtered throughout the first half. The offensive line just wasn't opening the holes. Miles Taylor, you could tell from the very start that Irondale came out and said, go ahead and try and run with number 6 because that's what we're going to key on. You saw in the touchdown by Forrest Wolf, they put Miles as the up back, and they still put 2 guys on him. He never even got close to the ball, and no one got close to Forrest Wolf as he went in. So
yeah, I mean, you look at this team, and this is a team that doesn't give up. I mean, they were being outplayed by Irondale, but they continued to fight, and they were managed. And granted, it was at the end of the game where they were able to score again. But I think you take a lot of things and you grow and you learn from these kind of defeats. And just the first one of the year. So, they'll get back.
Yeah,
they take one game at a time. They'll do that. And with Spring Lake Park, they'll do the same thing.
They're sitting in a great spot at 3-1, but some very tough opponents in the near future. Spring Lake Park is one of them. Spring Lake Park is going to come in hungry after losing what I assume was their homecoming game. They lost to Hopkins last week 14-7. Armstrong gets their second district victory of the season, beating Forest Lake handily 45-27. Forest Lake scored the last 20 points of the game, so Armstrong really
dominated.
They got up big in the first half, increased the lead through the third quarter, and then just coasted to the victory. That puts them in the top of the bracket now at 2-0 in the conference. Cardinals still have the best overall record in the Suburban Blue at 3-1, but still to this point only one game played in the district. Remember, those last two games of the season are against Armstrong and Hopkins.
Correct.
So it'll go down to the last week to see if they can clinch the district championship, and it should be interesting. Coming up, you talk about it. Spring Lake Park, a good football team, and they will be coming in angry after losing on their home turf, and also only putting up 7 points.
Yeah, they Cardinals beat them last year at their place, so they're going to look for a little revenge, try and spoil that homecoming. But again, the Cardinals hopefully they'll be pretty healthy as they come into this game, and they've got another opportunity to get a win here.
Well, let's hope that the loss kind of fires them up a little bit. Tennis team had to deal with some rain last week. Did get just one match in since during the latter part of last week, and they got a victory, beating the Blaine Bengals 4-3. That gets their record back within one game of 500 at 7-8. The winners, Anna Bezcalo at third singles, Anna Samet at fourth singles, Newton and Nelson at first doubles, and Schrader and Severson at second doubles, winning in third in 3 sets.
Well, the tennis team will wrap up the regular season this week, and it starts with a visit from Champlin Park on Monday afternoon. The Cardinals really looking to make a strong push into the playoffs, but they knew that the Rebels bring a very strong team with depth top to bottom. This would be a great test for the young squad to prepare them for the postseason. This is Cardinal country, and the Lady Cards are trying to be welcoming but not overly hospitable. Ellen Everhart receiving serve in the near court for the Cardinals at first singles. Strong ground game leads to a long return. Everhart wins the point but loses the match 1-6, 1-6. Junior Grace Hanula serving at second singles. Excellent work on the backhand for Hanula on this point, keeping her opponent deep. Champlin's Alex Rippler plays it to the net. Hanula with a much better second set but loses 0-6, 6-7. Third singles, Anna Bezcalo facing Justina Palmer for Champlin Park. Nice job on this point, using the court, making Palmer move, then getting the winner down the line. Bezcalo falls in straight sets at 1-6, 5-7. We're going to move to first doubles. Carly Nelson serving up the ace on this point. She and Emma Newton go 3 sets but come up short, 4-6, 6-1, 5-7. And Jersey Schrader and Caitlin Severson in the far court at second doubles. Watch the net play by Severson on this point. First, quick reaction, then the dominant smash. It's not coming back. Schrader and Severson lose 2-6, 2-6. Finally, third doubles, Ella Georgie and Kelsey Goldman in the near court for the Cardinals. This is a quick point for Coon Rapids, but Georgie and Goldman lose 4-6, 6-7. Unfortunately, Joe, the Cardinals get swept 7-0 on their own court.
Yeah, that's not how they had hoped, but they knew coming in that the Champlin Park is very good. There were several of them that were close, but several also that were straight sets losses. But that's the kind of competition they have to be ready for if they want to make deep runs, not only in the team section play, but in individual sections. I would imagine certainly Nelson and Newton end up with a high seed when we get to the individual tournament for sections, and some of the other girls that end up being in that. At this point, you're looking at probably Everhart and Hanula being the two singles players, but you never know with Coach Storick. He likes to change things up and give girls the best chance to go deep into that tournament. So really only one match remaining in the regular season. They host Irondale on Tuesday. The divisional crossover game right away on Thursday. So they're already into the postseason. And this is a young team we talked about coming in. They had a little bit more experience than they had last year, but still a very young team. And a lot of girls that will be continuing on with the program next year and into the future.
Yeah, we'll be there actually tomorrow to cover that Irondale match. And the interesting thing, no singles. It's going to be all doubles.
Oh, we're doing 2 doubles matches.
We'll be doing 2 doubles matches tomorrow.
Oh, boy. Just
twice as much fun.
Just to confuse Joe that much more. It doesn't take much.
It doesn't. You know, something shiny in front of your face. Like,
Well, let's hope that the weather cooperates. We started with the tennis match like week 1 of the fall season. That one got moved because of a scheduling conflict. Then we had one last week. We were supposed to do the Champlin match last Thursday. That got rained out. Forecast not looking great, but we're hoping that we'll be there to see that against Irondale. So volleyball team had just 1 game since our show last week, hosting the Irondale Knights on Thursday. Knights had a 6-game win streak earlier in the season and were a couple of games over 500, but still just 1 game ahead of the Cardinals in the conference at 1-1. Coon Rapids was determined to use their home court to their advantage, pull even in the Northwest Suburban standings. Cardinals getting to the lead early in the first set on the serve. Irondale not able to set up for an attack. Cardinals take advantage. Quick turn on their side. Set up Emma Wright on the left. She pounds it at the Knights player. That's going well past the end line. Points Cardinals. They lead 11-6. Coon Rapids getting it done on defense as well. Irondale attacking from the right side, but Becca Masteller and Sam Lom combined for the block. My teleprompter has lost me. You're still not quite there. Cardinals get the win in the first set, and they keep it going in the second. Emma Wright with the kill right there. Great save by Alex Wright, and the winner in the middle for Sophia Frakey. 25-23 win in the second. But Irondale comes back and avoids the sweep. They get the winner right there on their right side to get the 25-23 lead. 25-23 win in Game 3. Service game is huge for the Cardinals in the fourth. And all night long, perfect placement. Alex Wright had 6 aces in the match. She wasn't the only one. Peyton Shevchuk, the lofted knuckleball is in return, one of her 3 aces. But it was Becca Masteller who led the team with 7 aces in this match. Cardinals had 17 aces against Irondale. They win in 4, 25-18, the final in the fourth.
And a nice win for the Cardinals, too. I mean, you know, they've been looking for wins as well this season, and nice for them to get that home win and
absolutely
keep that season going.
They've had a lot of close matches, kept pace with very good teams at times, and at other times, you know, letting them slip away a little bit more. We saw that when we were there the other night. But you know, they've played well. They've continued also, as many of the programs have, continued to get better, and that's the key. For all of these teams. You know, continue to improve start to finish, and they have certainly done that. That was a big win for them in the conference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their first conference win of the year, and it did pull them even with Irondale in the conference standings, both at 1 and 2. They've got some tough matches this week. They're at Elk River on Tuesday, and then they host Champlin Park on Thursday. Both teams having very nice seasons and sitting toward the top of the Northwest Suburban standings.
Yes, and we'll see them again soon. Well, the swimming and diving team was at the University of Minnesota over the weekend, but before that, they welcomed Champlin Park to the Northdale Pool on Thursday. The Cardinals continue to show progress with each meet, and there was a couple of events that were of very impressive depth. Unfortunately, it's still not quite enough to knock off some of the tougher teams in the conference. A couple of highlights to show you. First in the 50 free, Champlin already a big lead, but the Cardinals cut into it with a 1:35 finish. Megan Schultz gets the win in 25-12 seconds. Pamela King finished third, and Isabella Nordstrom was fifth. Jump ahead to the 100 free, a great race for freshman Emma Schmidt, who is getting big points for the team each meet this year. She's going to take second place in a time of 1:01.39. Nice race there. Cardinals, they're going to show their depth again in the long distance event. 500 free, Joe's favorite. No surprise that Schultz dominated the field and win in a time of 5:20.13. But freshman Ella Hacker is third and junior Tamala King is fourth to make the card's best event of the night. One more blue ribbon against the Rebels, and it comes in the 200 free relay. Schultz, Hacker, and King are joined by Jaden Michalowski, and they combine for a fantastic time of 148.57, winning by more than 2 full seconds. But the meet already out of reach by that point. It's going to end in a 98-82 score in favor of Champlin Park.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot with swimming and diving, certainly, but with a number of other sports that are individual sports. They certainly have some very quality swimmers.
They do.
But, you know, we've talked about it over the years with the swimming and diving team. In order to be successful as a program, you need not only those first place finishes, but you need girls getting those second, third, fourth, and even fifth place finishes, because sometimes that 1 point for fifth place can you know, help your team. And they're doing that now. They're getting 3 girls to place in events, and that is huge for this program. And you want to talk about a young team.
Oh, they're very young.
They're incredibly young and have been for a couple of years, but they still have a lot of strength at the youth levels, and they are getting bigger. You know, we talked about it, you know, the numbers growing for the Cardinals. Champlin Park's numbers are pretty good, like 75,
really,
according to Coach
we
Thomas.
read that the email that he said they have a big class there, no question.
So the swimming and diving team was at the University of Minnesota over the weekend for the Maroon and Gold Invite. A good showing for them, and this is always one that Coach Donaldson uses as an opportunity to get some of those younger girls used to what it's like to be in those great big tournaments. A great venue over there at the Aquatic Center. Cardinals finished 13th place, 16 teams involved. I have my girls cross country statistics underneath my swimming scores. That's not quite what I was looking for. Megan Schultz finished second place in the 200 IM, fifth place in the 500 free. Her 500 free time is second best all time in school history, and it's just like a second off of the school record. Oh,
there, look at that.
I didn't know they were making a graphic for that, but hey, we'll take it. I was getting some other things from the Maroon and Gold. Ella Hacker finished 7th place in the 100 free, 14th place in the 500 free, which is also a top 15 time in school history. 400 free relay was 7th place, 200 free relay 13th. Tamala King was 24th in the 50 free, 25th in the 100 back, and Lauren McCarr 26th in 100 back, or in 100 backstroke, and Micheski was 28th in diving. But that, what you were just looking at while I was talking about those scores, amazing. I forgot to mention it because we were so busy last week.
Yep.
But certainly worth a mention. The record at the pool record for Spring Lake Park, grabbed by Megan Schultz. That was a time of 107.10, and that record you remember Allie Shermers?
Oh, sure.
She has, I think, between 4 and 6 school records over at Blaine. Her name all over that billboard at Northdale Middle School pool. So, and that had stood since 2005.
Yeah,
so
that's
13 years.
That's amazing.
That's great company for Megan Schultz to be in. A great accomplishment, and we just didn't. We kind of ran out of time and didn't get time to talk about that last week, but very impressive things happening for the swimming and diving
Well,
team.
you know, and as good a swimmer as she is, she may break that record yet before she's done.
Still got time. Still got time.
Yep.
They are the swimming and diving team at Elk River on Thursday, and then they have another big tournament on Friday when they go to St. Peter. Talk about big tournaments. Biggest one in the upper Midwest, one of the largest in the country, happened over the past weekend for cross-country teams. That's the Malacca Mega Meet. There are 140 teams involved. in this. That means 700 runners.
It's amazing.
And they run a number of different races that they jam into this. It's a fantastic event. And the Cardinals did pretty well. Boys finished 39th place with a score of 1285. Nick Jorgensen was the top finisher for the boys, coming in 181st. Reed Smith behind him at 192nd. Isaac Johnson was 237th. And look at the difference between Reed Smith and Isaac Johnson. There's only 13 seconds, and there's more than 40 runners get across in those 13 seconds. Andre Kemboy finished 325th for the Cardinals, and Martinek finished in 350th. For the girls, team finished in 69th place, so right around middle of the pack. Sarah Eichstad was the top finisher in 172nd place. Issa Hoagland finished in 290th. Jenkins was 447th. Zoe Hoagland in 453rd. And Rebecca Weimholt was 504th with a time of 23 minutes, 11.70 seconds. And these are the meets that really help give those runners an idea of what it's like to run against the best there is, and also against, in a big field, which makes it far more difficult to pace yourself and still have what you need. You got to find the right group, get yourself up toward the front, and still have enough to push at the end. Yeah,
both teams respectable. Obviously, the boys had 39th. Nice finish for them, and girls did a good job as well.
Yeah, that's 40 out of 140. That's top quarter.
Yeah.
If my math is somewhere in
your Minneapolis math.
It's not great, but it's...
You don't have to take your shoes off. Shoes and socks off to count that one.
Well, a couple of events this week. The Mustang Invitational on Friday will be mostly for JV kids. Give some kids that are, runners 7 through 12 an opportunity to run against some other teams' varsities. Because on Saturday, another big event that they look forward to each year, the Roy Griak Invite over at the University of Minnesota. Always a very big event. Not quite the size of the Malacca Mega Meet,
but still,
it's still very large,
attended.
And it draws a number of the top teams, both in the Metro and from throughout Minnesota. Soccer teams had a couple of games over the past week, and not what either team was looking for. Boys soccer team shut out by Centennial on Saturday, 4-0, dropping their record at 2-8 overall. That's the third straight shutout loss for the boys. They have a busy week this week. 3 games coming up. They're at Champlain Park on Tuesday. They host Irondale on Thursday, and then they're at Duluth East on Saturday. And both of these teams, boys and girls, really struggling on the offensive end.
Looking for offense.
And needing to get that turned around. Still quite a bit of season left for them. Kind of like the football schedule, just over the midway point, so still plenty of time to get some things corrected. Girls soccer team, last Tuesday while we were doing Sports Night, they were hosting the Duluth East Greyhounds, a section opponent. They played them tight, but come up short, losing 1-0. The Cardinals still looking for their first win. It did not come on Saturday. Centennial, a powerhouse, and they showed why. They put up 11 against the Cardinals, and similar to the boys, the girls have just 1 goal scored in their last 4 contests, and we knew coming in, we've talked about it throughout the year, scoring is definitely a concern. Defense also a concern for the girls. That certainly didn't help. Biggest challenge for this team may be just trying to keep their confidence.
Well, and I think that is the biggest challenge, because you're getting beat 11-0, and it's got to be demoralizing, for the coaching staff and for the players not to be able to score a goal, but then let 11 in. They have to try and find a way to get a little more balance, see what they can do. But you're right. When your team is looking for goals, and the longer you go without a goal, the tougher it is, and it stays in your head. Yeah,
and that's the hardest thing for athletes in any sport, is to not get down on themselves, keep the chin up, shake off a loss like that, and come right back. And they've got a tough schedule ahead of them. They also play 3 this week. They're at Champlain Park on Tuesday. They host Irondale on Thursday, and they're at Minnetonka on Saturday.
That'll be a tough one as well.
Minnetonka is
playing on the turf.
Perennial power, and they're very fast, and they do play on that turf. So tough schedule for both soccer teams as they try and correct some things, get some things turned around, headed towards the second half of their regular season. We are headed towards the second half of our regular season here on CTN. We've got tennis coming up on Tuesday, live against the Knights at 4 o'clock, weather permitting, of course. And then it's homecoming. On Friday, the Cardinals hosting the Panthers from Spring Lake Park. And then we'll get to see the volleyball team next Tuesday when they host the Hawks from Cooper. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us. Continuing to support everything we do here at CTN for the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro. I'm Joe Young, saying good night.